Sara dreaded her, not because of the party. Oh no, the party was to be magnificent. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, reflecting the soft glow of countless candles. A string quartet played Mozart, their melodies a dull roar in Sara's ears. Her unease stemmed from the legal document, waiting like a venomous snake, hidden amongst the gaily wrapped gifts. This document held the key to her inheritance. A vast fortune, amassed by her eccentric grandfather, awaited her, but there was a catch, a cruel, heartless catch.
To claim my inheritance, I have to give up the one thing money can't buy: true love.
The stipulation was clear. To receive her inheritance, Sara had to end her relationship with David, her childhood sweetheart. David, with his kind eyes and quick wit, was everything her world of privilege was not. He was a scholarship student, making his way through life with hard work and determination. Her aunt and uncle, guardians of both Sara and her inheritance, made their stance clear.
Sara leaned in. Her breath hitched as she made her wish. 21 candles adorned the cake, each casting long, dancing shadows across her face. As she blew out the flames, a plume of green smoke erupted from the center candle. It swirled around her, momentarily engulfing her in an ethereal haze. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, the smoke vanished. Laughter filled the room. Her Aunt Mildred and Uncle Henry clapped politely, their smiles strained. They had never been fond of celebrating Sara's birthday. Reaching 21 meant she gained control of her late parents' fortune, a fact that didn't sit well with her greedy relatives. But tonight, Sara tried to ignore their animosity. Tonight was about celebrating her freedom. As the green frosting melted on her tongue, Sara felt a shiver run down her spine. It was just a draft, she told herself, brushing off the sudden chill.
But Sara looked unhappy. The grand ballroom, filled with the murmur of polite conversation and the clinking of champagne glasses, seemed to fade away as Sara faced David. His eyes, usually sparkling with joy, were clouded with apprehension. He knew. The words, when they came, felt like shards of glass in Sara's throat.
I can't see you anymore, David. Our lives are too different.
It was a lie, a cruel fabrication to protect him, to fulfill the conditions of the inheritance. David, heartbroken and confused, pleaded with her, but Sara remained resolute.
Sara, please don't do this, I love you.
She choked back tears, her heart shattering with every word she uttered. Finally, unable to bear the torment any longer, she fled the ballroom, leaving David standing alone amidst the celebrating strangers.
Henry knocked tentatively on Sara's door. He hadn't heard a peep out of her all morning. "Sara, dear, are you awake?" he called out, his voice dripping with faux concern. He tried the doorknob. To his surprise, it was unlocked. He pushed the door open slowly, peeking inside. The curtains were drawn, casting the room in a dim light. He could make out Sara's figure huddled beneath the covers. "Sara?" he ventured again, taking a cautious step inside. As he approached the bed, he could hear soft sniffles coming from beneath the blankets. He reached out a hand to pull back the covers, his pulse quickening with a mix of anticipation and dread. The fortune wouldn't be his if something happened to Sara. Would it? The covers fell away, revealing a sight that made Henry's blood run cold. Gone was the sophisticated young woman from the night before. In her place lay a girl who couldn't have been older than 16. Her eyes were red and puffy, her cheeks stained with tears. She looked up at Henry with a mixture of fear and confusion. "Uncle Henry?" she whimpered, her voice small and childlike. "What's happening to me?" Dr. Albright observed Sara with a detached curiosity. He had been the family physician for years, but nothing in his medical textbooks could explain what he was witnessing. He had examined Sara just last week, and she had been perfectly healthy, a vibrant young woman on the cusp of adulthood. Now, she sat before him, seemingly years younger, her mannerisms those of a teenager. He'd checked her vital signs, run a battery of tests, but everything came back normal. Physically, she was perfectly healthy. But mentally, something was amiss. "Well, Sara," he began cautiously, choosing his words carefully, "all your tests seem to be in order. There's no sign of any illness or physical abnormality." Sara, fiddling with the ends of her braid, looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes. "But doctor, I feel different. I look different. What's happening to me?" Dr. Albright hesitated. He had a suspicion, but it sounded preposterous, even to him. "Sara," he started slowly, "do you believe in magic?" Mildred stood in the doorway of Sara's room, her face a mask of disbelief. She had heard Henry's frantic whispers about Sara's transformation, but she had dismissed it as another one of his cruel jokes. But this was no joke. The sight before her sent a chill down her spine. Seated on the floor amidst a pile of dolls and stuffed animals was a young girl. Her hair, once styled in elegant waves, was now in pigtails, tied with bright pink ribbons. She was humming softly to herself, completely engrossed in her game of make-believe. This wasn't her Sara, this was a child. Mildred's mind raced, thoughts colliding in a chaotic mess. What was happening? Was this some kind of elaborate prank? But how? And more importantly, what did it mean for their plans, for their future? Sara, darling? Mildred's voice wavered, betraying her carefully constructed composure. The little girl looked up, her eyes wide and innocent. "Yes, Auntie Mildred," she answered, her voice as sweet and childlike as her appearance. Mildred forced a smile, her mind scrambling for answers. This had to be a dream, a nightmare. It couldn't be real, could it? The third morning dawned cold and gray, mirroring the dread that had settled in the pit of Henry's stomach. He hadn't slept a wink. The image of Sara, or rather the ever-younger versions of Sara, haunted his every waking thought. Each creak of the old house sent shivers down his spine. What would he find today? He dreaded the answer, his mind conjuring images too bizarre, too unsettling to comprehend. He stood frozen at Sara's bedroom door, his hand trembling as he reached for the knob. He took a deep breath and pushed the door open, bracing himself for the unknown. The room was bathed in the soft, pale light of dawn, each step echoing in the eerie silence of the room. He peered over the edge, his heart pounding in his chest. There, nestled amidst soft blankets, lay a baby, fast asleep. Sara's baby pictures flashed in his mind, confirming his worst fears. This was Sara. But how? Why? And what did it mean for him, for his future?
The room, once filled with her presence, was now eerily empty.
The manor descended into chaos. Servants scurried, their faces etched with worry, while her aunt and uncle ranted and raved, their accusations echoing through the halls. But Sara was gone, or so they thought.
Hidden deep within the bowels of the manor, behind a tapestry depicting a hunting scene, lay a secret passage. This passage, known only to Sara and her grandfather before her, led to a network of tunnels, a secret world beneath the opulent facade.
It was here, in a hidden chamber lit by flickering gaslight, that Sara revealed her plan. The regression, the doctor, the disappearance, it was all a carefully orchestrated ruse.
The laughter echoed through the deserted airport hangar, bouncing off the sleek private jet parked in the center. Sara, dressed in a sleek pantsuit, emerged from behind the aircraft.
And standing beside her, his eyes shining with pride and relief, was David.
"Surprise!" she exclaimed, her voice laced with amusement. "I guess my little disappearing act worked even better than I expected." Beside her stood Dr. Albright, a knowing smile playing on his lips. "Your uncle seemed to believe my diagnosis of a rare form of age regression," he chuckled, adjusting his glasses. She pointed at a barely noticeable door set into the hangar wall, hidden in plain sight. "Secret passage, leads directly to my room. My friends made their grand entrances and exits through there, while I waited it out right here, enjoying the show." As David led Sara towards the plane, the sound of their laughter echoed through the hangar. Sara had played her hand, and she had won. She was free, and she was ready for her future, a future where her inheritance and her life were truly her own.